Alright, settle in because this ain't your grandma's chain letter scare. Have you ever seen something online, just a picture, a video, and felt like it was watching you back? Not in a data mining, algorithm tracking kind of way, but like really watching you, peering into your soul? Yeah, well, in the digital shadows, sometimes those glances can turn you to stone. Literally. And trust me, I know. I saw it happen. This whole mess started in the most mundane of places. My cramped Brooklyn apartment, specifically my even more cramped home office corner. MacBook Pro, dual monitors, ergonomic chair that was definitely not ergonomic anymore, the usual digital nomad starter pack. I'm Alex, by the way, freelance web developer, coding by day, doom scrolling by night like half the city probably. My specialty was building websites for small businesses, the kind of stuff that keeps the internet humming along but rarely makes headlines. My apartment was your typical Brooklyn pre-war, exposed brick, questionable plumbing, but good light and rent control, thank God. The unusual feature, if you could call it that, was my obsessive digital archiving. I'm a digital pack rat, hoarding everything from old forum threads to obscure image boards. It started as a hobby, a way to track the evolution of internet culture, but it morphed into something else. A fascination with the digital detritus, the forgotten corners of the web, the places where things go to die or maybe to linger. And that's how I stumbled upon it. The image. It was buried deep in an archive of a defunct online forum dedicated to, well, let's just say it was dedicated to fringe internet phenomena, the kind of stuff you find down the rabbit hole after too many late-night Wikipedia binges. The forum was called The Glitch in the Machine, and it was a haven for conspiracy theorists, digital mystics, and people who just like to swap weird links. It had been offline for years, but thanks to the Internet Archive, its digital ghost still flickered in the virtual ether. I was researching something completely unrelated, early 2000s web design trends, ironically, when I clicked a link in a cached thread. It led to a post titled, simply, The Gorgon Pixel. Intrigued by the melodramatic title, I clicked. And there it was. The image was unsettling to say the least. It was a low-resolution JPEG, clearly old, probably ripped from some ancient corner of the early internet. It depicted a face, vaguely human but distorted, almost monstrous. Snakes writhed where hair should be, rendered in jagged, pixelated lines. The eyes were the worst. They were unnervingly sharp, intense, piercing even in the blurry, low-quality image. They seemed to bore right through the screen, directly into you. It was clearly meant to be Medusa, the Gorgon of Greek myth, but filtered through the lens of early digital art. Crude, blocky, yet strangely captivating. There was a disturbing symmetry to the pixelated snakes, a hypnotic quality to the distorted features. And those eyes, they held a chilling intensity that belied the low resolution. Underneath the image, the forum post was brief and cryptic. Beware the gaze, it read. Some images see you back. This one petrifies. Followed by a string of replies, mostly dismissive, mocking typical internet cynicism. LOL cursed image, one commenter wrote. Nice creepypasta bait, said another. A few though were more hesitant. Something feels off about this one user had posted. I looked at it and my screen glitched out. Another simply said, nope, too much. Closing tab. I scoffed, typical internet nonsense. Cursed image? Petrify? Come on. Still, there was something about the image, something that lingered in my mind even after I closed the tab. Those eyes, they were hard to shake. I chalked it up to late-night internet fatigue and went back to my web design research. The inciting incident happened that evening. I was working on a website mockup, staring intently at my screen, coding CSS, when I noticed something odd. My cursor. It was stuttering, lagging, moving in jerky, unnatural motions. I thought it was my trackpad acting up, maybe low battery. But then I looked down at my hand, and it was stiff. My fingers, my wrist felt strangely rigid, like they were tightening up. I shook my hand, tried to flex my fingers. They moved, but with a stiffness, a resistance I hadn't felt before. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but definitely there. A creeping rigidity starting in my hand, spreading slowly up my arm. Panic started to prickle at the edges of my mind. What was going on? Was I having some kind of weird muscle spasm? Was it carpal tunnel gone wild? I dismissed it, told myself it was stress, too much screen time, bad posture. I stretched, took a break, made some tea, tried to ignore the creeping stiffness in my arm. But it didn't go away. It got worse. The stiffness spread, reaching my shoulder, my neck. My movements became more labored, more restricted. My skin felt colder, almost clammy. And then I looked at my reflection in my darkened monitor screen, and I froze. My face. It looked different, paler somehow, tighter. My features seemed sharper, more angular, less alive. And my eyes, they looked wider, more fixed, staring blankly ahead like stone. The rising tension escalated quickly from that point. The stiffness intensified, spreading through my body like ice creeping through veins. My movements became slow, deliberate, each step, each gesture requiring conscious effort. My skin grew colder, harder, losing its elasticity, becoming brittle. And the visual distortion started. It began subtly. Edges of objects seemed to blur, then sharpen into unnatural angles. Colors seemed to shift, becoming muted, grayscale, almost stony. My vision started to tunnel, the world narrowing down to a restricted field of view, like looking through a long, dark corridor. Sounds became muffled, distant, as if my ears were slowly filling with cotton. My voice, when I tried to speak, came out raspy, strained, barely audible. It felt like my vocal cords were stiffening, turning to something else. I remembered the image, the Gorgon pixel. Beware the gaze. This one petrifies. The forum post, the cryptic warnings, the dismissive replies, it all flooded back, no longer internet nonsense but a chilling premonition. Could it be possible? Could a digital image actually be doing this to me? Turning me to stone? In the digital age? It sounded insane, ludicrous, impossible. But the evidence was undeniable. My body was hardening, stiffening, losing its humanity, transforming into something else. Paranoia set in, a cold, creeping dread that mirrored the physical petrification. Was I going crazy? Was this some kind of elaborate hallucination? Or was it real? Was this digital curse, this pixelated Medusa, actually taking hold? I tried to fight it. I exercised, stretched, tried to force my stiffening limbs to move, to resist the encroaching rigidity. It was like trying to move through hardening cement. Each movement was agony, each stretch met with resistance, with the feeling of my muscles and tendons turning to stone. I tried to call for help. Grabbed my phone, fingers clumsy, stiff, barely able to manipulate the touchscreen. Dialed 911, my voice a strained whisper, barely able to articulate my emergency. Help me, turning stone. The dispatcher's voice, tinny and distant through the phone speaker, sounded confused, skeptical. Sir, are you saying you're turning into stone? Before I could answer, my hand froze, mid-gesture, phone slipping from my stiffening fingers, clattering to the floor. Silence. I was alone. Trapped in my apartment, trapped in my body, slowly, inexorably turning to stone. And the image, the Gorgon pixel, it was still out there, online, waiting for others to stumble upon its cursed gaze. The climax arrived that night as the petrification reached my face, my head. My vision had narrowed to a pinhole, the world a blurry, grayscale tunnel. My breathing was shallow, labored, my lungs feeling like they were encased in concrete. My heart pounded weakly in my chest, struggling against the encroaching rigidity. I knew I was running out of time. Soon, the petrification would be complete. My body would be entirely stone. My mind, would it still be conscious? Trapped inside a stone shell forever? The thought was a horrifying abyss, a living tomb. With a desperate surge of adrenaline, fueled by pure terror, I stumbled towards my computer. My legs were heavy, stiff, barely able to support my weight. Each step was an agonizing effort, dragging my petrifying body across the room. I reached my desk, fingers like frozen claws, barely able to manipulate the mouse. Stumbled through the menus, screen blurry, vision failing, desperately trying to find something. Anything. A way to break the curse. A way to stop the petrification. And then I remembered the forum thread, the glitch in the machine, the comments under the Gorgon pixel image. Maybe there was something there. A clue, a warning, a solution. With agonizing slowness, I navigated back to my browser history, found the cached forum page, reopened the thread. Vision blurring, fingers freezing, I scrolled through the comments, desperately searching for something. And then I saw it. Buried deep in the thread, a reply to one of the dismissive comments. A single sentence, easily overlooked, easily dismissed as more internet nonsense. But now, in my desperate state, it resonated with chilling clarity. To break the gaze, it read, reflect it. Show the Gorgon her own image. But beware, reflection is a double-edged sword. Reflect it? Show the Gorgon her own image? What did that mean? Reflection, mirror, screen? My eyes, or what was left of my vision, fell on my darkened monitor screen. My own reflection, distorted, grayscale, stony, stared back at me from the black glass. My petrified face reflecting the Gorgon's gaze. Was that it? Was my reflection the key? The twist wasn't a solution but a terrible escalation. As I stared at my reflection in the darkened monitor, something shifted. The image on the screen changed. It wasn't just my reflection anymore. Superimposed over my stony face, flickering faintly, was the Gorgon pixel. Those pixelated snakes, those piercing eyes, now mirrored in my own petrified gaze. The reflection wasn't just reflecting. It was amplifying. The curse wasn't just coming from the image online. It was now being reflected, intensified by my own petrified image staring back at me from the screen. The digital Medusa wasn't just on the internet anymore. It was now inside my computer, inside my reflection, inside me. The petrification accelerated, rushing through my body like a tidal wave of stone. My vision went black. My breathing stopped. My heart ceased to beat. Darkness, silence, stone. But not complete silence. Not complete darkness. In the black void I could still see the Gorgon pixel. Those pixelated eyes staring back at me even from within the stone. And I could still hear. Not with my ears, not anymore, but in my mind. A whisper, cold, digital, ancient. Petrified by the pixels, forever. The screen. My computer. It's still on. Still displaying the forum page. Still showing the Gorgon pixel. And now, alongside it, another image. My reflection. My petrified face. Captured by the webcam, frozen on the screen, becoming part of the curse, part of the digital Medusa's gaze. The cycle continues. Someone else will stumble upon the image. Someone else will click the link. Someone else will look into those pixelated eyes. And the Gorgon pixel will claim another victim, turning modern paranoia into living stone. One click at a time. Have you ever felt that chill? That unease when you see something online that just feels wrong? Have you ever looked at an image and felt like it was looking back? Share your experiences. Have you seen the Gorgon pixel? Because I'm trapped here in the stone, in the digital darkness, and I'm warning you, beware the gaze. Especially online. You never know what's watching back. And sometimes it can turn you to stone.